for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shannon Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology, and instructional coach for my district.
And I'm her producer, husband, and apparently the guy pushing all the buttons, Fuzz Martin.
Oh, you did get your little
it's just kind of slightly
subtle.
Yeah.
Subtle today.
Because it's Pear Deck.
Pear Deck week.
And yeah, we have a pair of things we're going to talk about today. But it's just one thing.
Actually, no, it's a pair.
It is, I know, but it was funnier if
There's just one.
Let me explain the joke. So, no. We're talking Pear Deck.
Pear Deck
got one
and
other little
Flashcard Factory.
Flashcard Factory.
And then we got a little STEM bonus for y'all. And we're at episode...
From a listener.
Yeah, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
We're at episode 103.
103.
Which is craziness.
Yeah, that's so many shows. We made it so far.
We have. It's been a good week. Very busy. Actually, I have so many tech tools. I have a little collection here. And then we're going to take a little break for Thanksgiving and whatnot. And then...
do a couple weeks, take a little break for Christmas and whatnot, New Year's and whatnot, and then come back in the beginning of the new year.
Yeah. Which would be like season 5?
Holy no, this is season 4 though, right? Like we're
weird
on season 4.
How we do
because
things.
we started in 2019, beginning of 2019. Yeah, it was the beginning. So it was like the 2018-2019 school year was one.
January.
Yeah. But we just started.
a half a year there.
Yeah, because we started in January. And then 2019 to 2020 was season 2. 2020 to 2021 was messed up, but that was season 3. And now we're in 21 to 22, which is season 4.
Yeah.
So in September will be season 5.
Right. We have like this weird overlapping thing.
Yeah.
I've actually done some investigating for some of our staff, and if anybody wants to learn how to do like digital hieroglyphics.
Oh.
I got some cool sites on that.
Are those emojis?
Yeah, right.
Egyptian emojis?
We could totally do a whole episode on emojis versus like digital hieroglyphs and how you can do this with students. This might actually come in to turn into something that'll be happening in the future. But not today. Today we were talking about Pear Deck and Flashcard Factory. And we do have a little STEM bonus at the end that we'll chat about. But Pear Deck and Flashcard Factory, we talked about in different episodes, but we have not talked about Pear Deck since episode 11, which feels like 100 years ago. And Pear Deck has made so many upgrades and changes since season 11, episode 11, that I figured we needed to kind of talk about this again, because lots of teachers use Pear Deck. And if you're not, there's so many benefits from it. But also, Pear Deck has kind of branched out. So it's not just creating decks in your classroom with your own stuff, but they have so many new resources that share all kinds of cool information with educators. So we're going to talk about the free features of Pear Deck, because you can always pay for Pear Deck and have more features, but there's plenty with the free Pear Deck version. When you go into Pear Deck now, just like anything, you can log in and have your own little login and sign in with Google. It's fine. But what they have changed, there are several things that they have changed. So you are able to, in Pear Deck, they have additional resources that are pre-created. So they've got Pear Deck templates that are like already put together based on like different themes and topics of information you might be sharing with your students that are relevant to whatever's going on that month. They have teamed up with Newsela, or we call it Newsela. Some people call it Newsela. I don't know if it's where you're from or like what your district calls it. We call it Newsela.
I think Newsela sounds good, but
yeah,
what do I know?
They now have it. It's paired up with Newsela, and it's called Daily Decks. So on Monday, Pear Deck will send it to you. You sign up for this; it's free. Pear Deck will send you several decks for the week based on relevant news topics.
Okay.
And there might just be 3 or 4 slides in it, but there's like news information with discussion questions and things to get your classroom kind of set up.
Yeah.
Which is cool, because for like different relevant topics of the week, and they're age appropriate.
Why isn't Aaron Rodgers playing this week?
I don't think that's in there. But there are other things, like when we were talking about Indigenous Peoples Day, we're talking about like different things. So they have nice collections of information pre-done, which is great. And then you just kind of scan through like what would be appropriate in your classroom. They have weekly wonders decks that they've put together, and it's focused on like cool, interesting people and topics. And then it's to spark discussion in your class and like investigation with students. So they have weekly wonders they've put together, which is really cool. So if you get a chance for any of those templates or those daily decks, they're definitely worth looking into or signing up for. And it just sends to your email, and you can either use it or not, but it's like pre-created content, which is kind of nice.
Can I ask a question that I have always wondered about Pear Deck? How do you get to it in Google Slides?
So first you got to sign up.
Okay.
So sign up for Pear Deck.
Easy
Log
enough.
in with Google.
Yep.
Okay. Then once you're in your deck, once you're in a slide, Google Slides, anytime, you don't have to have Pear Deck even open.
Okay.
You go to add-ons.
And
then Pear Deck for Google Slides.
Okay.
And once you open it up, it puts a little like navigation bar on the right-hand side of your screen.
Okay.
And then like you can be running your regular Google Slides. So dropping in your own slides, your backgrounds, like all the kind of stuff that you want to do. And then on the right-hand side, there are then Pear Deck things you can drop in. So if you want to drop in pre-done slides, you can click on pre-done slides. If you want to put in, they have a whole template library. So like beginning of the lesson, they have specific slides for, think of question that you want to ask your teammates. And you might like put that in there. What do you wonder about with today's topic? So they have pre-done slides that are question slides, or they have pre-done slides that are like draggable. And there's different, so it drops interactive slides into your pre-done Google Slides.
Yep.
So you can take a Google slide deck you've created before.
Yep.
And then open up the Pear Deck add-on and drop Pear Deck slides into a pre-done Google slideshow. So you don't have to start one from scratch to be able to use Pear Deck. What I like to use is the during lesson templates. You can pose a question and then make it true or false, drop it in, and then as you're presenting with Pear Deck and your students have their computers open or if they have phones open, they're responding as you're teaching.
Okay.
So then you can see their responses as a class and kind of get a feel for if they're learning things or if there's certain things that they need more information on. There's also a lot of options with Pear Deck. There's end of the lesson. They have critical thinking questions that you can put in. And then it's different ways of applying the things that you've discussed in class. And then like a question of consider what we know. And they've got different columns, and then you can add your information into there. One of the things as a social studies teacher I really like, they have interactive maps. So you can drop a map in, and then students can have little pins, and you can say like, hey, where do you think this place is? And then they all can drop their pin into the map, and you can see if your class really knows what you're talking about or not. So that's kind of fun.
Rubbing your forehead.
I know, like, stressful. But they do have slides that are for every topic. So all you have to do is in that right-hand column, scroll down. So they have things literally, they're labeled littles for K2.
Yeah.
So they have slides for littles, but they've got math, science, social studies, world languages, ELA. So they have pre-formatted questions for you. And then you can just drag and move them over into your slideshow as you want to use them. There's a lot of different things you can use with Pear Deck. Some of the features, if you want to be able to keep the data and stuff like that, then you have to do the paid version of it. So it's just something to be aware of, that some things you will run into. There's like just a little like lock on them, but there's tons and tons of free content and ways to set up using Pear Deck that you don't have to pay for. So, but it's really nice because it makes any of your Google slide decks interactive.
Yeah.
And then students are able to.
So the students don't have to have any sort of Pear Deck login. It's just the teacher.
They'll get a code. So when you go to present a Google slideshow that has Pear Deck in it, it'll say like join Pear Deck, and then when they join. It's join like PD.
Oh, join a session. Okay,
and then they type in the little code.
Yeah, I got
And then Peary, the most adorable little logo ever.
It is a very adorable logo.
Yes, he like dances around.
Pear Deck gave you a shirt at one point, right? Was that at one of the conferences you went to?
I went to Ed Camp.
Yeah.
And when I went to Ed Camp.
Which is coming up in March, right?
Yes, and it's face-to-face this year.
Whoa.
Yes, I went to Ed Camp, and then amongst all of the things, I won a Pear Deck t-shirt.
Your most prized,
it
cherished
is
possession.
so cute, and I can't say how many people are like, oh my gosh, your shirt's so cute. And other teachers that are very familiar with Pear Deck, like, you have a Pear Deck shirt? I'm like, yes. And they're like, they all laugh at me because like, you're so techie that I like walk around with like Pear Deck t-shirt. I'm like, yeah. And then I give them a sticker because I've won other things from Pear Deck before.
Yep.
For various contests. And so I'm always like, which new stickers? Because they put Peary sometimes in cute little hard hats and glasses and fun things. So Pear Deck is awesome like that. They have cool swag.
Agreed.
So yeah, but anyway, so as we digress. But Pear Deck not only has cool swag, but they have great features and so many resources for educators, which is awesome. And another awesome thing about Pear Deck is that if you go to their homepage and it says Pear Deck vocabulary, I don't know if everyone pays attention to this, but Pear Deck vocabulary like isn't just like vocab.
Okay.
So what you do is you click on Pear Deck vocabulary, and then you can choose to import a list or type in your words. And so like I'll create my list for November, and my students are learning about branches of government right now. So if we type in like filibuster, and what's cool about that is if I click definitions in the little screen, it gives me the definition. It gives you different definition choices, and I just click on the one I want to use, and then I can type in appeal. And then I can click on definitions and then choose the one that I want to put into my classroom. And then what's nice is once I add all the terms I want that my students are working on, I can choose to export my list, I can share my list, or I can play Flashcard Factory.
Flashcard Factory.
And this is like, make sure your browser window is visible to your classroom's projector so that way your students can.
Excuse me.
That was the snoring dog.
That was a snoring dog. I was going for the bell, and I accidentally hit the dog.
Cool.
Great show.
So you join PD, and then it's just app Pear Deck /vocab presenter. But anyway, so it goes right into Flashcard Factory. So you have daily shift groups, night shift groups, which means that it puts the students into groups, shuffle up teams if you want to, and then you play. And they then play Flashcard Factory based on the vocabulary that you just logged in. So it's really fun. The kids can then, do little interactive team games with the flashcards that you just loaded in. And cute little Pearys are the little guys in the factory. So they're little pairs with hard hats on, which is adorable.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's Flashcard Factory. So if you didn't know, not only does Pear Deck have awesome slideshow resources, but they also have Flashcard Factory, which is super easy to set up. And then your students can review your vocab as a class, and it's fun and it's adorable and it's really easy.
The Peary in a hard hat with the mustache and glasses is probably the cutest thing.
Yes. And I have stickers of that.
You have stickers of that?
Yeah. I have 2.
I need to put that on my workbench. It's a worker.
Oh, I
Peary.
could. I'll bring one home for you.
Yeah.
I got them at school.
Unless you want to give it to a kid or educator, that's fine.
Maybe.
But it would look cool on my
Or maybe
bench.
we could just say, hey, Pear Deck, shout out. We love your stickers. Can you share some?
Hey, Pear Deck, shout out. We love your stickers. I want to put it on my workbench.
Yay,
so
for
any
Pear
teachers
Deck.
that come to our house and happen to look at my workbench.
They could be like, oh, cute Pear Deck sticker.
Pear Deck. In case you didn't know, buy their products. But they also have a free version because that's what we talk about all the time.
Yes. Coolness.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so Pear Deck, lots of awesome things, lots of cool little upgrades that have happened recently. So check out Pear Deck and play around with that in your classroom because that's really fun.
Very much.
So yeah. Oh, and so our other little STEM bonus we got going on today.
Yes.
So, I highlighted episode 100, Girls in STEM.
Yeah.
Well, there's a teacher that reached out to me. Denise Goodwin is her name. And
Hi, Denise. Thanks for listening.
Yay. And what is so cool is that she has a STEM club for girls.
Nice.
And she's encouraging STEM things, and the girls do all kinds of cool activities and have lots of STEMmy resources. And one of her students Ella, suggested a cool STEM site. It's like a collection of all kinds of engineering games and projects. And what it is, it's a collection. So it just links to different things on like aerospace and biomedical and civil engineers and mechanical engineers. And so it's a cool resource that houses just all kinds of additional resources and links to go to. So we want to thank Ella for giving us a little engineering website tip.
Thanks, Ella.
And the engineering games will link into the blog so that way other people can see this cool site that Ella found. So thank you for sharing that with us, Ella. That's really cool that your STEM Girls Club is doing all kinds of cool things and then sharing that with others.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome.
Agreed. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to hear from everyone who's listening and their students too, which is really cool. So
agreed.
That was fun. So yeah, there are so many things. I have so many thoughts today about Pear Deck and STEM. And you could do a cool project with Pear Deck and log in, throw in some cool STEM activities using Pear Deck and have students base interactive activities using Pear Deck and then interact and ask questions with other people.
I know, exactly. And we were using a tool, by the way, at work this week. We were doing Scribble.io again in a meeting. And
we're back to Scribble.io again. Yep.
Yeah, we had a Scribble.io or Scriblio, if you will. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of fun.
Nice.
So all thanks to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.
Nice. Glad we could introduce you to some new tech.
Yeah, me too, because we need more.
Yay. Well, thanks for tuning in. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Twitter at SmartNWI. And if you want to get more information on the links in the technology discussed in this episode, you can visit smartnwi.com. If you'd like to support this show, please consider buying me a coffee or two. Visit buymeacoffee.com/smartnwi or visit smartnwi and click the cute little purple coffee cup in the bottom corner. Your donations help keep this show going. New episodes each week. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
The ideas and opinions expressed in this podcast and the Smart and WI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies we discuss in this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as described, but we sure hope they do. Thanks for listening.